back to our intuitive eating workbook. We're going to go into distracted eating and satiety cues. So distracted eating is one way to put our brains on autopilot while we eat, which can throw off our hunger and satiety cues, which we don't want. We want to know what that is. We want to listen to our bodies. A really good way to kind of disrupt the nature of autopilot and our habits is actually to eat with your non-dominant hand. It's a pretty cool trick to do that because it'll force you to slow down. It'll force you to not like shovel food into your mouth, especially if you're a fast eater. That also helps. But also distracted eating. Eat with your non-dominant hand. If you're ambidextrous, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe chew very slowly. Take your time. Make sure you're not watching TV. Make sure you're not on your phone. All of those things. It's also common for people to offer you more to eat in social settings. So making sure that you know your boundaries. So sometimes a host is just being polite and accommodating, and some individuals gain self-worth from other people eating their food, especially if it's a special recipe. But it's important for you to honor your body and set those boundaries. It's not your responsibility to make someone happy by eating more food at the expense of your body and comfort. Even if they ask you repeatedly, if you don't want more to eat, you don't need to change your answer, okay? There are many ways that people can experience fullness. I talked about hunger last time, so this is going to be fullness. So here are some different ways. You got your stomach. So many people experience a sensation of fullness in their stomach, ranging from a slight distension to heaviness and bloating. In your head, you may experience fewer thoughts about food and eating. The desire to eat is kind of diminished. For your mood, you may feel a mood shift. You may begin to feel more pleasant or relaxed. Energy levels, some people are going to feel really re-energized. Others, they might feel a little bit more drowsy after eating, depending upon what was in the meal. And some people stop eating when they suddenly feel uncomfortably full. This sudden onset of extreme fullness arises from not paying attention to the emergent sensations of fullness. These sensations are subtle and easy to miss if you don't check in with your body. For many people, this requires slowing down the process of eating. It's super important. And there are several factors that influence how much food it takes for you to experience comfortable fullness. And that is going to include your initial hunger level. So if you start eating when you're not hungry, there's no compass for the contrast of fullness because there's no hunger to compare it to. Then you have unconditional permission to eat with attunement. If you have not made full peace with food, then stopping because of fullness may seem like a really difficult proposition. It's hard to stop eating if you believe you will never eat a particular food again. Then you have timing. The amount of time that has passed since your last meal or snack will influence your fullness levels. To keep your energy and blood sugar in balance, you generally need to eat every 2 to 6 hours. The amount of food that you ate at a prior meal or snack, that's going to influence when you become hungry and how much food it will take to reach comfortable fullness. Then we have social influence, and several studies have shown that the presence of people at meals tends to increase the amount of food that you eat. And this may be due to distraction, peer pressure, or just simple unawareness. Then we have the types of food. The kind of food you eat will influence not only your fullness levels, but also its staying power. For example, foods with a lot of bulk will make you feel full, but if they're also low in calories, such as vegetables or air-popped popcorn, they will not be satiating. Foods higher in fat, such as an avocado, have more sustaining power. And some types of foods contribute to the feeling of comfortable fullness, and that's going to be protein. The protein level in your meals or snacks helps to increase satiety levels. Foods high in protein include meats, beans, poultry, nuts, yogurt, and fish. Then you have fats. Fats are going to contribute to fullness in 2 ways. The first is the presence of fat in meals slows down the rate of digestion. It's also the slowest part of food to be digested. It plays a significant role in prolonging fullness. Foods high in fat include nuts, salad dressings, oils, butters, nut butters, full-fat dairy products, and avocados. Then we have carbs. Carbs add bulk, which contribute to satiety, right? These foods also help keep a normal blood sugar level, which is essential for providing energy to your cells. Foods high in carbs include pasta, bread, rice, beans, and fruit, but making sure that those are whole foods. I cannot stress that enough. Whole foods, whole grains, whole foods, whole grains, okay? Fiber is an indigestible type of carbohydrate, which adds some. There's 2 types. Which adds bulk and slows down the absorption of carbs into the bloodstream. It's the reason a sandwich made with whole wheat bread may be a little more satisfying than one made with white bread, which has much less fiber. These types of foods temporarily contribute to the feeling of fullness, but it's short-lived because they are low-calorie foods. It's the reason why you could eat a meal consisting of a huge veggie salad with a tall glass of unsweetened iced tea, feel full, and then end up being super hungry again an hour or two later. Or you may have experienced a confusing feeling when eating these foods. You feel physically full, yet you still feel like you're missing something. That could be like that protein or that fat that you were missing. You could feel like you're on the prowl, like you're still needing to eat, and individuals often describe it as restless, food-seeking feeling that they are not satisfied. Then we have high bulk, low calorie. So these types of foods are generally vegetables and some fruits. Air foods, these are the types of foods that are usually familiar to dieters. Air foods fill you up in your stomach but offer little, if any, energy, which are calories. There are typical diet foods such as rice cakes, puff cereal, and sugar-free beverages are going to be like your air foods. Then you have your artificially sweetened foods and low-carb foods. These foods tend to replace carbs with sugar alcohols and indigestible fibers. These replacements can make you feel temporarily full, and if eaten in excess, they can cause bloating and discomfort. This includes some energy bars, sugar-free gelatin, and low-carb desserts and snack foods. As you begin to become more familiar with various sensations of fullness, you'll be able to identify the last bite threshold, which is the end point of eating for that particular meal, snack, etc. It's a subtle experience. You become aware that just one more bite of food will likely be your stopping point for a comfortable satiety level. And the key element in sensing this threshold is paying attention. So please make sure when you're eating, you are not eating distracted. It's super important. If you have any questions on fullness cues, please comment below.